Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lost Ox Media. I never like having to make these intros where I'm explaining something about an episode upload, all due to YouTube's copyright system in particular. This episode 36, is going to be a little bit shorter than usual because the episode got copyright claimed by Amazon Content LLC. We covered an episode of the MrBeast games that aired recently on Amazon Prime, and immediately Amazon was quick to take the video down, all visibility, everything. The first time this happened to the channel was episode 30 when we covered the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. You'll actually see on the YouTube channel in particular, the episode's got a completely different name. Anywhere else you go to listen to or watch the episode, like Spotify, it's completely different title. The episode's uploaded in full. Netflix couldn't do shit, right? How weird is that? They're doing the same thing. Amazon's doing the same thing with this video. It will be available in its entirety on Spotify and all that good stuff. Amazon can't do anything on those platforms. So I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Usually when a claimant claims content on YouTube, YouTube will give them a couple different options. One of them being that the claimant could take the money being made from the video if the channel's monetized, right? So if I was stealing a full episode of the MrBeast games and just uploading it and trying to make money off of it, that would be a reasonable option, right? Like, I'd basically be stealing at that point. That's not what we do here, so I shouldn't have to worry about that, right? But the money's not really what I give a shit about at this point. It's a small channel. I want the channel to grow as much as it can at this point, so the visibility is what I'm worried about. YouTube also gives the claimant, with no evidence whether it's fair use or not, with YouTube not being involved in the claim of fair use at all, no courts, no cease and desist letters at all, YouTube gives the claimant the right to just take down the video completely. So now I can fight this claim, I can dispute it without getting a strike on my channel, right? But that takes up to 30 days. So now this episode's supposed to go up. What am I going to do, right? So obviously, I have to cut out a segment of the episode to upload it on YouTube so that we can all watch it, where it's going to be available in full everywhere else, because everywhere else actually respects the copyright system, the fair use system, right? I don't know what the hell YouTube's doing, but that's what we got going on here. As always, I'm not going to hold you too much longer. I hope you enjoy this episode of Lost Ox Media. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Lost Ox Media. As always, I'd like to thank you on joining me for yet another week of debauchery, where we make you take a second look at what you just watched. We have a lot of good jamokes on the docket for this week, so as always, I will not hold you too much longer. Let's get into a little bit of music and jump right into it. All right, so who do we have on the docket for this week? We got the MrBeast games as the replacement for the week segment, the What's Eating Ethan Klein segment. We're going to see just how low people are willing to go for a smidge of cash. Then we get to see Joe Rogan completely cuck out Tim Dillon on his own podcast. This one's going to be interesting because the whole podcast takes place on Joe's set. This like a guy is like a fucking hermit crab. You're never going to see him completely out of his shell. Then we get to see a little passerby video. We got Shane Gillis acting like a 5-year-old kid fighting over a shotgun in the middle of a Taco Bell drive-thru. This one's going to be funny. Then we got Chris Distefano acting like a complete drunken bitch on his own podcast, Chrissy Chaos. He talks about his rehashing of the History Hyenas podcast with Giannis Pappas, and they talk about how they did an episode with Joe Rogan that has not aired yet. Trust me, I've been keeping an eye out for it. Then we have the introduction of Stavros Halkias and Joe List to the Lost Ox Jamokes universe. Let's give it up for those two, Stavvy being an unfunny fat fuck and Joe List being an unfunny string-beaned white dude, we're going to get some good time codes out of that. So, let's get into it on this fine episode of Lost Docs Media. Before we jump into the Beast games, I want to show you guys this clip that I ended up finding online of this IShowSpeed character. You guys familiar with that guy? This IShowSpeed dude, he's like one of those streamers that's in like the Kai Cenat universe. You know, Kai Cenat, Aiden Ross, Neon, those guys, you know what I mean? So, IShowSpeed and Kai, they're doing this streaming marathon where they're playing Fortnite every day until they end up winning a ranked match. Now, during these live streams, IShowSpeed, I guess, introduced his girlfriend to the stream for the first time ever. So people were kind of like, whoa, man, who the fuck's that hot bitch, bro? So they started asking questions about it. So naturally, these guys got to interact with the chat. They got to start talking girlfriend biz, right? Now, I don't give a shit about none of that. I'm sure you don't either. But during this time where Kai starts asking IShowSpeed questions about his girlfriend, Speed starts trying to show off in front of her. And this is where things go a little south for him. Check this out.
Like, what's different about her?
Say if I'm having a bad day.
Right.
Like I'm having a shitty day.
Right.
I can talk to her and I feel better.
Right.
You know? And I can talk to her about anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, and as being in a relationship, I feel like if you can talk to somebody and they can make you feel good with talking to them, that's valid.
That's somebody for you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, bro,
that was the third.
So now, this is what's happening here. Let me contextualize this for you. Basically, Kai starts asking IShowSpeed, he goes, what is it about this fine bitch over here that makes her so special to you? You know what I'm saying? And IShowSpeed's like, now he's put on the spot, you know? So he goes, oh man, let me use this as an opportunity to make a little heartfelt clip for the stream. You know, he goes, man, when I'm having a bad day, I call this bitch up, I talk to her. She makes me feel better. He goes, what else? He goes, man, I'm telling you guys, he looks into the streaming camera, he goes, guys, if you could find a girl that makes you feel special like this, that's a beautiful thing. Now, Kai starts pressing him. He goes, what else about her? Name three. Name a third one, right? This is where IShowSpeed starts to get to cooking. He starts trying to cook up some ideas in his head. He goes, man, this fucking clip is boring, man. How can I spice this up a little bit? Watch this.
That's valid.
That's somebody for you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, bro,
that was the third thing. Your third thing. You have to say things. Like, I want to hear something a little presented by you. I don't want to something special. You know what I'm saying?
Now, pay attention to Mr. Speed right here. This brother's cooking. I'm telling you, in his mind, he's got 1,000,001 things going on, and he knows that he has to try to make this moment pop. You know what I mean? This guy is basically clip hunting right now. In his head, he's trying to think, what can I do to really, really bring this stream to the next level, right? This is where he tries to come in with the goods and gets met with the slapstick. Watch this. Look, he's cooking.
Why you put me on the spot? Okay, all right.
Watch him. He's thinking.
I ain't putting you on the spot, bro.
He's thinking. Watch this. This is gold.
What the fuck?
What the fuck was that, dude? Look at this asshole. And look at Kai Cenat's face. Kai's over here like, bro, I think this motherfucker just killed himself on my stream, dog. His girlfriend's like, baby, what are you doing, bro? You can't just be doing backflip. So now he's sitting there in his mind. You saw him sitting down cooking this one up. He's in his head. He's trying to think. He goes, what can I do? What can I pull out of my back pocket to make this moment pop? Now, usually he does these backflips like everywhere he goes. You know what I mean? People see him in the street. IShowSpeed, do a backflip. It's just like when people yell out the window while you're skateboarding and go, do a kickflip. It's the same shit with him. People see him, they go, do a backflip, do a backflip. So this guy's backflipping his ass off. So he thinks that he's got this one in the bag. He didn't take into consideration that there's a whole goddamn streaming setup. This room is like 5x6. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much going on in here. You don't have room to just be doing a spread-legged backflip in the middle of this shit, bro.
A little presented by you. I don't want to start special. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Why you
Go
putting me on the
ahead.
spot? Okay, all right, I bet.
I ain't putting you on the spot, bro.
And then here's the thing. Before he does it again, this was what got me. What about this, like, is having to do with your girlfriend being so special? Like, are you trying to tell us that she's such a special person that she makes you do backflips? Is that what you're trying to tell us? Are you trying to tell us this bitch gives you wings? Is that what you're saying here? Like, are you trying to do one of these, like, this is like a scene out of The Notebook. Like, you're in, like, the 1940s. You go, this girl is so goddamn cool, man. She makes me want to hop a skip and a jumper. And then he just, like, does a backflip. He goes, yippee, man. That's how she has my heart feeling right now. It's doing backflips for this girl. This is, like, what you're going for with this? Because if it is, this is crazy. She called him by his first name. She called him by his goddamn government name. What the fuck? I didn't know this asshole's name was Darren.
Are you okay? What are you doing?
Look, wait until you see his face. Watch this.
Darren!
Look at this guy. He's like, yo, baby, I thought I had that one in the bag, bro. He goes, man, I hope I didn't lose one of the diamonds in my $15 million earrings, bruh. Took a lot of streams to get these earrings.
Are you okay? Why would you do that?
Look at him, hurting.
All my life, he loves you. He fucking loves you.
He goes, he loves you. Let's give it up for IShowSpeed in the backflip of a century, man. That was, I just couldn't. I couldn't not talk about that on the show. That shit was so goddamn funny. So let's get into this Beast Games, why don't we? Now, this show, kind of interesting because you expect it to be like one of his videos, right? You expect this game show to be exactly like one of his MrBeast videos. And it kind of is. It's still got him screaming like, hey, I got 1,000 people in here. I got my whole crew of like 25-year-olds that act like middle schoolers. We all like fucking kids. Like, he's still doing all that shit, right? But there's a little bit of a different feel this time. There's a lot of like emotion involved in this show. Because there's a lot of money on the line. So pretty much he's going out of his way. He like catered this show to make it to where like almost every situation, somebody's got to fuck somebody else over. And people are getting chopped like left and right in this shit. This is like Game of Thrones, bro. When you start to like a guy, they're gone. Now, remember when he had all those lawsuits? I talked about it a little bit on the show. People were like, saying that the contestants weren't getting treated right. They weren't getting medications on time. They weren't getting like underwear and stuff. Like, they were talking a lot of shit about this. I think they even went to have like a class action lawsuit against this guy. After watching the first 2 episodes of this shit, I was kind of like, I think they might be trying to sue him because they got eliminated so goddamn fast. That like in the first episode, this guy hacks out like 500 people. And he's doing it quick. Like, I almost couldn't even keep up with the first episode. Because every time I turned around, somebody was, like, falling through the floor like a fucking cartoon. Like, every time they got eliminated, they legitimately fell through the floor. So, the first 2 episodes was pretty much trying to hack off the fat. You know what I mean? So, I don't really want to cover those 2. Not too much emotion involved in just trying to get rid of as many people as you can, right? There's not really too much going on there. But then we get to the end of the second episode. And at the end of it, he leaves us with a cliffhanger. He has 4 captains representing the 4 groups of remaining people, right? Those captains have to sit on a platform, and on that platform behind them is a screen. The screen starts off with $0 and will keep going up until one of those captains hits a button in front of them. If the captain hits the button, they get the amount of money on the screen. I forget if they get to stay or if they go home, but the rest of their team is gone. So if they accept this money, the rest of their team is gone. Now, this is where some of these emotions start coming in, right? You start seeing upwards of $1 million on a screen. I mean, it's going to be hard not to hit that goddamn button. But you have like over 100 people sitting here on the floor all staring up at you. Please don't hit the button, bro. Like, you know, and you're on national television. What are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do? So that's what we're going to dive into on this first clip. You got all these team captains sitting up there on this platform, and the money is growing. What are they going to do? Oh, see, so it could have been two old ass ladies sitting in front of this guy. He would have, bam, blasted through those bitches to get to that goddamn present. And this is the kind of stuff that we need. This is what's going to keep the Beast games alive. You know what I mean? And this is great because MrBeast, he tries to make it seem like that, like I tell you, in these types of shows, the evil ones always get rewarded. Remember that. He tries to make it seem like, oh, you touch the president, it could be the worst thing ever. He gives this guy a golden ticket and a helicopter ride to some fancy schmancy island bungalow bullshit. Everybody else has to live in these like shacks in MrBeast town. And this guy and 6 other people get to live on an island getting fed grapes and stuff like that. All for him being that big of an asshole. And you gotta love it. Let's give it up for the MrBeast games taking place of the week segment. You know what I mean? You gotta love the good old week segment. So before we jump on to our next segment, we're gonna be jumping into Joe Rogan completely cucking out Tim Dillon. Before we get into that, we'll have ourselves a little bit of a smoke break. You know what I mean? We'll get some tunes playing and get ready to hop into a little bit of a smoke sesh. As always, I'd like to thank you for joining me on this wonderful episode of Lost Ox Media. Let's get ourselves a couple puffs and listen to a couple tunes, and then we'll get right back into the segments. If you guys didn't get a chance to check it out already, I'm wearing the new Lost Ox Media mustache hoodie. Yes, check it out. Check it out. Got a little mustache logo, got the hair up top, a mustache up bottom, Lost Ox Media in the middle. Sweatshirts are very comfy, very good quality, and very low price, 39 beans. Be sure to check out lostox.media if you want to check out any of the merch and help support the show, or if you just want to stay up to date with all things Lost Ox Media. There's all of our social media channels on there. You can end up accessing the YouTube page, the Spotify page, the podcast page, all from Lost Ox Media. Lostox.media. We don't do .com over here, okay? It's .media in this bitch. You better understand that. So, once again, check out lostox.media for any merch or to stay up to date with anything Lost Ox Media. What are we going to have next in the tune department? Ooh. It always seems like every time I start a smoke break, I end up getting songs that we've heard already, which I don't like. I gotta expand the playlist a little bit more. Trust me, I will be getting on that soon. So we'll finish out this puff, and we'll get into this Joe Rogan on the Tim Dillon Show. Very crazy situation because, like I had mentioned to you earlier, they end up doing the whole episode in Joe Rogan's studio. It's like this guy legitimately is like glued to that studio or something. You never see him outside of it. Only time you ever see Joe Rogan outside of the studio is when you see clips from the comedy Mothership where he happens to be like introducing someone on stage. We actually don't ever even see like stand-up clips of Joe Rogan that often. Like, only time you see stand-up clips of Joe is when it comes from one of his comedy specials. This guy doesn't even do anything to promote himself. Not that he has to. The Joe Rogan experience is fucking huge. We all know that, right? So why is Tim Dillon doing the show in Joe's studio? Tim wants to get some of those proverbial clicks from it. You know what I mean? You slap Joe Rogan's name on something, people are going to tend to tune in. You know, he does have like the most popular show on earth, not even the most popular podcast. So we're going to basically see Tim try to do an episode with Joe in Joe's studio, and then you're going to watch it go from the Tim Dillon Show to basically just another episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. Let's check this out.
We're up.
Thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. Do you want to sit here?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
It's your show, though.
Well, but that's not what we do. On YouTube, we call it, we say the Joe Rogan Experience, and people click.
Ah.
Yeah.
Don't sue.
Good move. I won't sue.
Don't sue.
Come on. I
Thank
love
you.
I'll never sue you.
Thank you for letting me shoot the special at the Mothership. It was amazing. Thank you for saving it.
Thank you for doing it. Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Very interesting right there, right? Says, thank you for letting me do my special at the Comedy Mothership, and thank you for saving it. What does he mean by this, right? I'll tell you. Tim ends up hiring a team of producers to do his new comedy special that I'm sure he'll end up releasing on like Netflix or something. This team comes in, they end up lighting up the entire room. Like, normally you go into these comedy clubs, the room where they're performing is like a little on the dark side. Why do they do that? Because people get self-conscious when they laugh at like crazy outlandish shit that people are saying on stage. Something about having people be able to see you clearly kind of puts you on the spot, doesn't it? Right? So a trick that these comedy clubs like to do is they like to darken out the room. They go, let's make it so that you can't even see your hand in front of your face. And then all you can see is this clown on stage, and maybe we'll get a couple more chuckles that way. To me, that's cheating. You should do comedy the same way you have sex, with every single light in the house on. Like, when I'm making love, I'm turning out every light, the bathroom, the laundry room light, the living room, the kitchen, my bedroom, they're all on. Because I don't want to miss a thing. I want to see everything, okay? And just in case somebody decides to try to sneak up, okay? You can't be caught lacking like this. So you need the lights on. Comedy is no different. If you can't do comedy with the lights on, can you even do comedy? If you can't fuck with the lights on, are you even fucking? I mean, come on. Let's go. What are we doing here? So that's what they're talking about here. Joe walks into the comedy club before Tim's comedy special taping. He goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Every goddamn light in this bitch is on. What's happening here? I don't like this. So Joe starts taking Tim's team and making them do corrections to the production. Imagine that. Imagine you hire a whole fucking production crew of people, right? All to have the owner of the comedy club that you're producing it in come in and start bitching them all around. Ain't that some shit?
A comedy club.
Well, to those guys' credit,
Yeah.
they all did exactly what I said, which is beautiful. They didn't push back at all.
they were smart.
Yeah, they had so much work that they put into making things interesting. They lit the walls weird.
Yeah.
They did all this stuff. But I
Yeah.
said, you got to understand, all this stuff makes people self-conscious. The more
Right.
they can see themselves, the more they can see other people,
Yeah.
the more they're self-conscious, the more they won't laugh. And Tim's act is fucked up.
Right.
Like, you have to cut loose on some jokes that
Yeah.
in, polite
Right.
company, you would never
Yeah.
laugh at.
That's
You would-
right.
you would turn your head away from. So.
And what was a mind fuck is that I was here a month ago and I did 6 shows and they were like the best shows we've ever done.
You're like, this is the
So
perfect
I
place
go,
to film.
why wouldn't we film it here?
Right.
And we filmed it at the store and we didn't get the coverage. I had a good set, but the coverage wasn't there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it
Which
wasn't-
doesn't make any sense.
It was not ideal.
See, so this is like Tim's 3rd time even trying to record this goddamn thing. He's been recording it at every goddamn club in the country. And he can't get the coverage. The production team fucking sucks. So now, is it Joe's fault for bitching around his production crew? Or is it Tim's fault for being an idiot and hiring a shitty production crew? Like, this is something that Tim is good for. His first comedy special that he had on Netflix, you can't even find it on Netflix anymore. They took it clean off. The only way, like, if you go on Netflix and type into the search bar, Tim Dillon comedy special, all you get is This Is Your Country, the new one that we covered a couple episodes back. That's it. You don't get his first one. I think the first one was called like An American Hero, right? You can't even find it. Only way I could find any remnants of it on Netflix was I had to go into Google, type the name of the special in, then it brought me to a Netflix link, and that brings you to a remind me when the show will be available again screen on Netflix. So you can't search for it. You even have to get reminded by Netflix like, hey, we're going to put it back up. Never. You know what I mean? So the first special was produced like shit. He had it produced by his old producer, Ben Avery. Now, I'm not knocking on Ben. Ben's never produced a comedy special. This is on Tim. You can't just, if you want it to come out top-notch, hire top-notch people. You can't just hire your friend who's never done this before and expect the results to come out good. And Tim's going to basically explain this to us. Tim doesn't really care about this kind of shit. Tim basically just shows up.
One we got at the store, the guy who did it's good guy. He's a nice guy, and he's a talented guy, but he just made some choices where he was like far out. He wasn't like, we didn't have a ton of close-ups. And that was what because here's the thing, they have a vision too,
right?
The people that shoot it. And I don't talk to any of them and figure out anything.
Oh, you have to do that.
I've really learned.
Yeah.
I just showed up.
Yeah, I know this.
Imagine that. Imagine if I just showed up, like, to this podcast. You know, it's crazy. Sometimes I'll get comments on this because of the nature of the show. You know, I'm basically just talking a bunch of smack about a lot of people's heroes and shit. So, you know, sometimes people will comment, they'll be like, how lazy a content is this? Somebody sitting there reacting to someone else's content, you know, while they listen to a podcast where somebody reviews a movie. You know, that's like this the state of the world that we're in, right? And people think that this kind of content that I'm doing, me in particular, is so lazy. I control all this shit by myself. I come up with all the topics by myself. If I did what Tim just did and just showed up here, you guys wouldn't have any time codes. I would like legitimately have to, you see all these over here? This is the prep that I do for the show. This is, okay, 00 is the intro, 2 minutes and 14. He talks about the lights being awkward, 4 minutes in, Tim just shows up. You know, see, I got to do that prep. So I got to actually go through and watch this stuff. How lazy is that? You know, I'm reacting. I'm practically doing a goddamn book report for you motherfuckers every week, right? And I'm not making the same money Tim's making, right? So this asshole just, you know, he just shows up. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that. Imagine if I just showed up. I would be rambling. You wouldn't want to listen to this shit.
Yeah.
I just showed up.
Yeah, I know this.
I don't even like, I'm bad at that part of it where I'm like, I don't do like the strategy meeting and go, what are we?
Right.
I just figure it's like, yeah, it's a mothership, it's a great club. You got a camera.
Yeah.
There's a stage.
Don't go too crazy with the design. And that's what the problem was. They went.
See, you don't, that's asinine to me. To have any kind of production, anything, whether you're a little YouTube creator or a top-notch, quote-unquote, professional comedian like Tim Dillon, to go into any kind of production with no preparation at all, whether you are the talent or otherwise, is always going to make for a shitty production. That's just the way it goes, right? And you couldn't make it more evident with this line that's about to come out of Tim's mouth. He basically sits there. They're still talking about the show. They're still talking about the comedy special. We're 10 minutes in now to the podcast. We're still talking about that. He's basically admits to Joe, he goes, yeah, I walked on stage and I could tell that like half of the crowd didn't want to be here. Why? You don't do any fucking prep for your comedy special. Did you know that like if you buy tickets for this guy's show, you're basically playing a game of roulette? Did you know that? Because this guy cancels shows all the goddamn time. He doesn't prep for shit. He doesn't show up when he's supposed to. Like, if this guy didn't have a podcast and a Patreon, what would he be doing? You know, he'd be fucking shit up trying to sell cars somewhere or some shit.
Areas, especially San Jose Improv. That place is awesome.
It's always supposed to be awesome, and it was like, it was tough. So it is comedy's such an interesting thing. You got to have an idea of like what you're going to see, who you're going to see.
Yeah.
And because I saw people that 8 o'clock Wednesday show, I'm like, they don't want to be here.
What the fuck?
Look at that. You know, I remember a time when Tim used to be such a humble dude. There was once a time where, like, if I would have zoomed in on Tim like this, all you would have saw on the top of his head was a comb-over haircut just like mine. Instead, now, he's wearing a black-on-black Louis Vuitton goddamn leather cap. Nobody even wears these goddamn things anymore. Like, celebrities don't even wear these things anymore. And these glasses, what the fuck are we doing? You know? This guy he's almost getting like a Tom Segura, you know? Only thing that really saves Tim with him having this whole like I'm rich and you're not attitude is that even when he wasn't rich, he always said that he was going to be this person. That's the only thing that saves him. So like people will kind of let this behavior slide a little bit because he's always admitted that that's who he was going to be. You cannot knock that. You cannot knock that. What you can knock is the fact that you're going into doing a comedy special with no preparation. You got the room lit the fuck up like it's Guantanamo goddamn Bay. Nobody can like everyone sees each other. They're seeing the pores in each other's faces and shit. And then you go, hey, I feel like people didn't, they came to the 8 o'clock show. I felt like they didn't want to be there. You know, I could tell that they just didn't want to be there. Yeah, no shit.
Of an idea of like what you're going to see, who you're going to see.
Yeah.
And because I saw people that 8 o'clock Wednesday show, I'm like, they don't want to be here. Some of these people don't want to be
Joe
here.
Rogan in the background.
Well, I don't think that's the case.
Maybe it wasn't.
I think they were weirded out
By how lit it was.
It was so well lit.
It was so well lit.
There's a light in front of you on your table.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a bad idea.
And then Thursday shows were the best ever.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, we got them to shut off everything.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, we're just going to leave these lights on. I'm like, let me see them off. Like the stage light.
Right.
I go, let me see that off.
Right.
Let me dim it down. Let me see it off. Okay, take it off. No, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And they did everything.
Yeah.
So now Joe's sitting, dude, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine you paid a crew of people like 25 G's to be in this goddamn comedy club, right? And you got this bald 5'2" muscle monkey maniac telling them what to do. I'd be like, dude, are you flipping the bill for this? Are you flipping the bill for this? All right. How's about this, Joe? You tell me, I'll tell them. Chain of command, let's keep it. You know what I mean? What are we doing? You got this fucking megalomaniac sitting there telling these guys what to do. And I'm not even using the word megalomaniac right. Come on, man. So now Joe's bitching around Tim's team, right? But Tim's sitting back kind of just like taking it because Tim doesn't know what the fuck to do. Tim's been doing comedy as long as he's been doing. He's got one Netflix special that you can't find. No other specials aside from that. You hardly see clips of his stand-up anymore. I'm starting to think that Tim is making the transition from good stand-up to shitty stand-up podcasting. That's what happens with these guys. They start making that Patreon money. They start making that podcast money. And comedy just gets thrown out the window. And then when they do try to write, they forget about the fact that they're writing bits that they talked about on the show. So people a lot of times will go to see their comedy and be like, I already heard half of this shit, you know? So now let's hear Joe talk about how he's bitching Tim's team around and how Tim needs that guidance.
It's so nice owning a club. Where
Of course.
There's no committee.
Yeah.
There's no committee. There's me and you.
You're
What do you want?
You're the dictator.
But it's not even a dictator. It's like
Right.
I do whatever the comic wants. Like,
Right.
whatever you need. Tell me
Right.
what you want. We'll do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You want music? No music? Okay, no
Right.
music. Whatever you want.
No, it's the most comic-friendly club, meaning like you can do anything you with. The reason that I need guidance because I don't know.
Bro, okay. This is where you start to lose me. This is where you start to lose me on this shit. Bro, you wearing a fucking $3,500 hat. You're wearing $4,500 Louis Vuitton sunglasses. Imagine that. And this guy got Polo Assassin hoodie on. Like, and you don't know? You need guidance? You cannot be acting like this ritzy fucking guy. And you need guidance. That's not what people look up to rich people for. I see a rich guy walking down the street. I go, that guy's got it all figured out. You know? Yeah, he might be a mess emotionally. He might be completely unhappy and an empty shell of a person, but I still look at him as if he has something figured out because he's got an ass load of money. So when you're sitting there wearing this shit, flaunting your riches, and, you know, talking a lot of shit about other people's movies, comedy, different things like that, we expect you to not need any guidance. We expect you to have a remnants of what the fuck is happening here, right? And you're saying this shit now. This is wild.
You want?
No, it's the most comic-friendly club, meaning like you can do anything you with. The reason that I need guidance because I don't know. Like I just know I like being funny.
Well, what you need
Yeah.
with a special
Yeah.
is someone who knows you.
Right.
And someone, like, if I was directing or producing
Right.
your special,
Yeah.
this never would have happened. I would have said, no, we have to have it very dark. Like,
Right.
let's take a look at it.
Right.
Let me hear the sound. Sound's
Yeah.
got to be cranked all the way up.
If I was directing your special, I love that. If I was directing your special. If Joe was directing the special, no one would be able to find him. He's too short. Every single person would be like, where's Joe? He's almost at ground level. Like, guys, I need you to change the lights. Nobody would give a fuck what this guy had to say. Okay? I know I wouldn't. You know? I know I wouldn't. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at Tim's other special, the one that was produced by Ben Avery. You're going to get a kick out of this. This is how much guidance Tim doesn't have. Wait until this is a trailer. I couldn't find the whole special. So I had to go with like a clip or a trailer or something that Tim had ended up posting on his YouTube channel, right? Wait until you get a load of this. This is Tim's stand-up comedy, and this was his last produced special. And you're going to see he's going to come in with this level of experience to Joe's club. And no wonder Joe was like, yeah, turn the fucking lights off, change the whole shit. As a matter of fact, scrap your whole goddamn set. We cannot do this. Firebomb the whole goddamn thing and let's start from scratch. No wonder, because when you see this, you're going to see Tim, the audio is all crazy. It's fucking echoing throughout the theater hall. There's blue lights fucking every goddamn where. Tim's wearing the craziest shit. Hair all messed up. Lighting looks like shit. Like, no wonder. Joe probably walked into his club and was like, I've never even seen my club look like this. What the fuck are you guys doing?
And I don't know what's going on. Are they teaching 2-year-olds about gender theory? Maybe. I don't know. There's always one school that they find in, like, San Francisco.
You hear that echo? You hear the echo? And then look at the way Tim's acting. He's like flaunting it. You never see Tim act like this. You never see Tim act like this. He makes fun of people who do stand-up like this. Sometimes you get these guys on stage, though, they get this deer in the headlights type shit. They start acting like caricatures of themselves almost. You know what I mean? This is what's happening here. Bad audio, bad lighting, bad stand-up. This is all, it's just bad.
I don't know what's going on. Are they teaching 2-year-olds about gender theory? Maybe, I don't know. There's always one school that they find in like San Francisco. There's always one school they use as an example where the teacher's in front of the kids and she's like, this is my labia.
This is my labia. Dude, we gotta lock this guy up. You know? Wait until they show a full body shot of Tim. This was like the beginning of Tim's Hypebeast era. This was like right before the transition. Because you notice he's wearing normal shit in this, right? Wait until you see the shoes.
And tonight I'm gonna make it a cock. And your homework is to name my new cock.
Name it. All right, let's get to a frame of it. I want to show you guys the start of the Hypebeast era. They got a shit right here. Look at his shoes. Watch this shit.
Mrs. Miller, your daughter's a les.
Your daughter's a les.
Let them figure it out.
Okay, come on. Let's get back to okay, so here's the full body shot. Tim, you notice normal shirt, no Louis Vuitton hat, but look at them shoes. We got Lakers colored shoes. That's bright purple, little bit of yelly. You know what I mean? A little bit of yelly on the shoe. This is kind of where it started from the bottom. Then it came all the way up here to the top, you know? So the hypeness, it started from the shoe, and just like gangrene, it spread up his body until it got to the point to where he's wearing the craziest Louis Vuitton hat and glasses you've ever fucking seen. And that's where we are today. So this guy, you know, he can't really figure out his own comedy special shit, right? But remember I told you that this was going to slowly start turning into the Joe Rogan experience, right? Because right now they're doing a lot of good back and forth. It sounds like a normal conversation. This is not the typical Joe Rogan format where like Joe talks for like 35 minutes, you talk for 30 seconds, and then Joe talks for another 35 minutes, bitches you around a little bit, cuts you off in the middle of talking, but tells you to wait when you try to cut him off in the middle of talking. This is not, at first it wasn't like that. Now we're about to see the transition. He's about to just steamroll this into a typical episode of JRE. Watch this.
He said, I spoke to someone. But you know what's interesting? My friend Bethany, who's like one of the Real Housewife chicks who came up with that margarita. She made like a shitload of money.
Bethany Frankel?
Yeah, Bethany Frankel. Some guy called her, and we did a 3-way call. She goes, I just want you to be on the phone with this dude. And he was just basically like, listen, my dad worked for this and that. And he was, you know, and he goes, he said a lot of what that guy said. He said they're looking for something, and whatever they're looking for, they want to find.
Yeah.
So now here we go. Watch that. Tim gets his point out, right? So now normally if you were, you know, you want to say one little thing, keep the conversation rolling. You don't want to make this a one-sided conversation like Joe typically does. And you remember in the beginning, in the intro, Joe's like, you want to sit in this chair? And Tim's like, no, man. What are you talking about? It's your studio. So Joe, it's not like Joe doesn't understand the dynamic here. So what is it? Does Joe think that this podcast isn't going as good as he'd like it to? What's the reason here? Why are we going to get this JRE landslide come in from the left?
Badly.
Well, if they do have a Skunkworks program where they do have some very sophisticated drones that can do things that these drones are doing. But one of these things these drones are doing is hovering for very long periods of time.
Now, you see how he did that? Watch. Joe does this every time. He'll be sitting back like this, and he starts getting the ball rolling. He starts getting up in his chair. He touches the knobs on the side of the mic. He goes, let's get locked in. I'm about to talk for 78 minutes. This is about to happen.
Drones are doing. But one of these things these drones are doing
touches
is
the
hovering
mic
for very long periods of
Yeah,
time.
okay.
5 hours.
Okay.
5 hours of flight time is nuts for a drone. And they're not exhibiting this traditional heat signature. Any kind of engine, an electric engine, any engine is going to give off heat. It's going to give off friction. It just has to.
Okay.
So somehow or another, these things aren't doing that. So how are they doing that?
Pass the ball back, Joe.
System? And if they have a cooling
Joe, pass the ball back to Tim.
system, what's powering the cooling system, and how?
Joe, please pass the ball back to Tim.
What kind of batteries are they operating under that they can fly for 5 hours at a time? So Ryan Graves,
Joe, please pass the ball back to Tim. What the? This guy, he's like, seriously, this guy is like going for the whole 9, dude. Like, please give it back to Tim. We don't need this. Now watch, he does it again. Like, not even 5 minutes later, he does it again. He starts getting on this steamroll bullshit, right? He starts talking about a topic, and then Tim's gonna be like, okay, yeah, like Tim talking in his like smoking grandmother voice, right? If you have a grandmother, she's like in her 80s, she still smokes cigarettes. Her and Tim have the same voice. So Joe's going to keep talking about the topic. Tim's going to be like, okay, so I'm going to try to like convert the conversation to something else over here, right? And then Joe's going to be like, no, wait, before you do that, Jamie, pull it up. And he's going to start doing the whole thing again. Tim's like, I thought this was my show. What are we doing here? I thought I was the one that was like talking about my comedy special, stuff like that. Now you got Jamie pulling up things on the screen. What are we doing? You know?
I was going to dig into that photographer, but you guys.
right? But did you see that there was other images like you could scroll?
I know.
Right.
Yeah. So Sony A. What is that, Jamie? How is that a
camera.
badass?
It's a camera.
Is that like the
Just new.
shit?
It's new.
No. Okay. So top of the food chain, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he saw.
Jamie,
Whatever.
there's also a video of somebody from a plane, and they're seeing these orbs in the sky above the clouds. There's like a lot of stuff that is lit up.
Could we, before you do that, could
Sure.
we just go back to that image again real quick?
Yeah.
Look at Tim. Tim, bro, this is the depressing. Tim's getting fucked, dude. He's legitimately getting cucked right here. This guy's podcast is getting butt fucked by Joe Rogan, and he's sitting back and watching, sitting in his little corner chair in the hotel, while Joe just takes his podcast to fucking Pound Town. This was crazy when I was watching this. See, he legitimately tells this guy, hold on, shut the fuck up real quick. Jamie, pull that back up. Look at this picture on the, and as soon as he says it, Tim just goes, sure. Like, what are you fucking kidding? I would have been like, yo, dude, I know that we're in your studio, but come on, dude, this is my show that we're supposed to be doing here. You're supposed to be helping me out.
The shit?
It's new.
No. Okay. So top of the food chain, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he saw.
Jamie,
Whatever.
there's also a video of somebody from a plane, and they're seeing these orbs in the sky above the clouds.
Now watch, look, I love this because Tim, he's got his hand going. He's like, Jamie, I'm gonna tell you, pull up the one thing that I got going on over here. I want to see the thing over here. And Tim thinks that he's really got like some balls here now. He goes, now I'm telling Joe's producer what to do. This is crazy, right? And then Joe comes in, not so fast, bitch.
There's like a lot of stuff that is lit up.
Could we, before you do that, could
Sure.
we just go back to that image again real quick?
Yeah, it's so weird.
That is crazy. That's
What the
that's
fuck
kind of
is that?
That's kind of freaking me out.
Look, and Tim has to sit there and try not to make it awkward. He goes, that's so weird. Yeah, what is that actually, now that you're bringing that up? Like, okay, like what the fuck is happening here? You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, dude, this is my show. You gotta like calm this shit down. This isn't Joe Rogan, bro. So let's give it up for Tim Dillon getting his show completely cucked the fuck out by the powerful one, the JRE. So let's have a little bit more of a smoke break before we end up hopping into the next segment. And while we have that smoke break, I want to show you guys this little clip of Shane Gillis. That's gonna be funny. But let's have another little smoke break, a little couple puffs, and then we'll hop into that Shane Gillis segment. Thanks again for joining me on Lost Ox Media. Be sure to check out lostox.media for everything up to date with Lost Ox Media. still can't believe Joe Rogan cucking the ever-loving dog shit out of Tim Dillon on his own goddamn special. Like, on his own podcast when he's talking about his own special, man. That is wild shit. Like, could you imagine? And that's the craziest part. Tim says to Joe, hey, Joe, can you do me a favor? I got this comedy special coming out. You know about it. You were bitching my team around in your club. Remember that? I'm going to need to promote this thing for when it comes out, right? So you think I could end up doing your podcast so I could get about 3 million clicks in 2 days? And people will know about the special. And that's where the help comes in, right? That's why Joe wants to do this favor for Tim, only to end up cucking him on his own show. I thought that was rich. All right, so let's get into this Shane Gillis clip, right? I was telling you guys about. It's a good one to smoke too. Not really anything wild here per se, but I just thought this was probably one of the most cringe things I've ever seen. For someone as famous as Shane, as much money as Shane, as popular as Shane, whatever you want to say, as Shane, and as old as Shane. That was the one I was trying to go for. You heard me dragging on the list until I got to the point that I was trying to make. So you see someone as old as this guy, like fighting over shotgun. You're like, is this even real, right? It's probably like one of these barstool dudes ended up recording him during all of this shit. And I thought this was kind of cringe, man. Like, because this shit drags on like a lot longer than you'd like it to.
Make a scene. You made a scene. You created a scene. Dude, don't make a scene. Get the fuck in the back, dude. I'll kill myself in this job. I'll for real kill myself in this job. Why would you do that? Yeah, you gotta get out. This is
dude, you gotta prove that you'll kill yourself.
You could hear the bussing with the boys in the background. You could hear them. This is who did him dirty. Imagine that. You hanging out with bussing with the boys. They record you during your finest hour. End up posting it on YouTube. That's good shit. So Shane Gillis sitting here going, you gotta get out of the front seat, man. I'll kill myself, man. If you don't get out of the front seat, man, I'll fucking kill myself, bro. What's the worst thing I can say? So that's rich shit right there. Like, that's something I was doing this in middle school. You know what I mean? I was fighting over shotgun, middle school, high school, shit like that. You go to get into your buddy's car, you're all racing from the front seat. It's like something out of MrBeast games. So now you got Shane in the middle of this Taco Bell drive-thru. Does he kill himself? Let's find out.
Why would you do that? Yeah, you gotta get out. This is gonna
you gotta prove that you'll kill yourself.
I'll pull you out of this car. This is gonna get high school cold.
Pull him out, Shane.
I don't want to do that.
Shane, pull him out, dude. Body his ass. Dude. Body his ass, Shane.
Caleb, hey, Caleb, come on, dog. You gotta get out. Come on, man. Let's be friends.
Hey, we gotta order. Dude, we gotta order.
Oh, Caleb, bro. Let's just be friends.
We're friends and we gotta order.
That's crazy.
I'm just realizing this is that Caleb dude from the fucking the Sunday Conversations. What the fuck? You know that Caleb dude? I don't know his last name. I always want to say Caleb Presley, but he's got a mustache like mine. He's got like long hair like Thor. He always has like these really short but awkward conversations with celebrities online. And during the conversation, there's always this really fat dude with no shirt on eating sundaes in the background. Why? Okay? So now this Caleb dude is trying to bitch Shane out of this shotgun seat. Does Shane win?
It's just a seat. It's a seat.
All right. That's cool.
It's a seat.
All right, I'll stand here. Caleb, come on, dog. What are you doing?
Dude.
You sure? You sure you want to do this?
Imagine that. Imagine you're trying to get a fucking cheesy gordita crunch, right? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're just getting off of work at your shit job. you know? And you trying to get through this goddamn drive-thru, and Shane Gillis is holding up the fucking drive-thru line because somebody in the front won't give him shotgun. Imagine that. I'd get out there and pull out my goddamn gun. I would be like, if you boys don't make moves, I'm gonna, okay? I need tacos and I need them now, and you guys are really fucking this up for me.
Are you sure? Taco Bell drive-thru, dude. This is where you want to die.
Listen how drunk Shane is. Shane's wasted as fuck.
I'll die. What are they looking like? PT Cruiser. There's a PT Cruiser behind us, gazing upon them. I'll die right now, dude. No, they fucking blew it, dude. I'd love to die in this Taco Bell drive-thru right now. I told you we were gonna die tonight.
Shane would love to die in this Taco Bell drive-thru, man. They got a PT Cruiser sitting behind them right now. Is this real? If I was that PT Cruiser, I'd start backing up and ramming into the back of their car. I'd keep doing it over and over again until they actually fucking started moving. You cannot mess with me when I'm hungry like this.
Please, dude, don't make me fight you. I don't want to. I love you, bro. I feel. I would hate to do that.
Oh, he gets him.
Yo, that was the funniest thing.
Obviously, I'm the best.
Let's give it up for baby boy Shane Gillis. Making a complete ass out of himself in the middle of a goddamn Taco Bell drive-thru. That's good shit. That's good shit. Imagine that. I'd be stunned if I saw that. I wouldn't even be like, what do people get? They get, what do they call that? I'm like honestly blanking on this. When you meet a celebrity, right? And you're like shocked. You're starstruck, that's it. I wouldn't even be starstruck in that bitch. I would actually be like pissed. I'd be like, dude, will you get the fuck out of here, bro? All right, so let's dive into a little bit of this Chrissy chaos. Chrissy being drunk as hell on his podcast, right? So this guy, he's talking a lot of shit this episode. And if you know anything about Chris, you know that he tends to flip-flop a lot with his confidence. And this tends to cause huge rifts in his family life. Let me explain to you. So he used to have like a really, really nice, almost mansion in the middle of like Staten Island, right? He was doing real good. Podcast was doing great. Just had a Netflix comedy special, selling tickets out the ass, right? So he's doing real nice. He buys this property less than a year in. This guy starts getting the craziest case of imposter syndrome you've ever seen. And when he does, he ends up uprooting his family, selling the house on Staten Island, and moving into like an apartment in Brooklyn or something, right? That was like 4 years ago, I want to say. Ever since that time, this guy has been bouncing his family around. House to apartment to house. Roaches over here. Landlord sucks over there. This guy's wife practically getting ready to leave his ass off of all of this crazy shit. You're too old to be making all of these like irrational decisions, bro. You gotta like, keep everybody in check. It's real selfish behavior. You're not thinking about your family, your daughter's school, her friends, none of that shit. You're just moving everybody around. And he's basically getting to the point to where like everybody in this guy's life is kind of starting to hate him. And he starts talking about that less than a minute into this podcast. Now check it. He's already got a glass of wine. He's ready to go. Look at this face. This face is going to get redder as the time codes go on. This glass of wine is never empty. Let's listen to what this drunk asshole has to say.
Even though he said he's willing to have a gout flare-up in the name of holiday season. We have a good episode for you today. It's just me solo. I asked Sam Morrill, I asked Mark Norman. They said they couldn't make it, but have no fear. The guests on Chrissy Chaos are going to get to another level because not only have we hired a booking person, a.k.a. Jasmine, is going to start fucking DMing you pieces of shit. and to get you into the podcast, but two, where
Look at that. I didn't even notice this until now. Look at how his producer, the two different angles that he's got, they're color graded completely fucking different than each other. Watch this. Look at how different these two frames are. Let's get to it. Come on, baby. Come on, Chrissy. Come on, Chrissy. Show me that goddamn frame. There we go. Look at this. Look at the contrast is different. His skin tone's different. The exposure's different. Now watch when you go into the next frame. What the fuck is this? Exposed like a motherfucker. Different color contrast. Everything's different in the goddamn frame. Let's give it up for the homeless pimp. Probably the shittiest producer in podcast history. Craziest thing is this guy works for like Discovery Channel or some shit. Like what's happening over there? Okay. So now we got Chris sitting here talking about how basically nobody wants to do his podcast, right? He's gonna have his wife, Jazz, do the booking for the show, right? Think about that. Some fucking snippy Puerto Rican bitch from the Bronx calls up your phone. Hey, mister, what you gonna do the podcast? Huh? You gonna come over to the podcast? I'd be like, shut the fuck up, bitch. And then you go and say, oh, I can't make it. She threatens to like slash your tires or some shit. Like that's what Chris, I'm telling you, anytime you've ever seen him talk about his wife, who used to be his girlfriend, when you'd see her on the podcast when she was his girlfriend, bro, this guy would say something about a girl. She comes into the podcast, starts interrupting it, talking shit. Like, bro, we don't want to listen to you argue with your stupid Puerto Rican girlfriend on air. I'm sorry. And then think about it. You get a call from this random chick. She doesn't know how to talk to these people. She doesn't know probably anything when it comes to the logistics of it. Hey, do we got to get you an Uber, hotel rooms? But you hit her with like 3 things at once. She probably is going to fucking break. Like, so you getting your girlfriend in the mix, she's going to fuck the shit up. It's going to cause you more stress. It's going to cause more problems in your personal life. You can't do this kind of shit, right? So he's already fucking up with this. Then we get into this whole Chrissy life changes, bro. He's about to start talking about all these great changes that he's making in his life, right? It's about goddamn time. You've been fucking them all up for the past 4 years. Let's hear what you got for us.
Let me just be honest with you where I'm at as a person right now. I had some big changes in my life recently come up. Little nervous, okay? Here's the thing. I'm nervous about some decisions that I made and some upcoming things in my life. I'm very nervous about it. But there's an excitement in the nervousness. There's an excitement in saying, you know what? You're going to get out of your comfort zone here, okay? You're going to go for something. You're going to go for something that's outside of your comfort zone, and you're going to fucking try, dude. I feel excited about that, but I feel nervous because if it doesn't work out, I'm going to really be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your wife's going to leave you? Is that what you're talking about? See, this is the type of shit. We don't know what the decision is, but I'll tell you right now, I bet you it's fucking, what do they call that? Impulsive. I bet you it's an impulsive decision with Logan Paul. Him and Logan Paul are going to start going into business together, and if that fucks up, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know if he's going into, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. But every time he ends up coming into these crosswords where he has to make these big decisions, he starts flailing like crazy. And basically does everything he can to self-sabotage himself. This guy, one time, he sold out like some crazy theater that he never thought he could sell out, right? That's when he sold his house. Then he gets a Netflix special. This guy buys a $250,000 watch and starts showing up on podcasts with yellow Jeffrey Dahmer sunglasses. Every single time he ends up jumping over a hurdle, he comes into a complete identity crisis. And he starts making the most outlandish fucking moves you could possibly imagine and basically gambling with his personal security, like his life that he has at home. He starts gambling that shit away. And we're basically hearing him say that right now. I came into these decisions. If they don't work out, I'm pretty much through. So what's the decision? You getting more ads from your mom's house? Is your mom's house hooking you up with a booker? You know this guy actually works for Tom Segura now? All of his ads, all coming from your mom's house. This guy is Tom Segura's bitch.
Fucking try, dude. I feel excited about that, but I feel nervous because if it doesn't work out, I'm going to really be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I feel excited about the chance.
You know how they say 3 strikes you're out?
Yeah.
You're going into like the 4th inning.
Dude, I've struck out twice, and
twice.
Twice.
No, I mean, you've struck out like 7 times.
So see, even his producers are like, bro, every other week, you're striking out, bro. Every other week. Now, remember I told you guys earlier that they end up rehashing the history Hyenas, right? Look at how big of a piece of shit Chris is. Chris and Giannis Pappas, they start this podcast called History Hyenas, right? And it's basically them two acting like fools, but they're talking about history. So they're trying to put a little bit of a fun spin on it. I'll tell you right now, it's the most ADD, like, a kid on crack shit that you've ever seen. Like, you don't know what's going on half the time. A lot of the history lessons that they talk about, they don't know what the fuck they're even saying. It's all inside jokes. Like, if you weren't a day one listener, you wouldn't know what the hell's going on. And if you're a day one listener, you're probably retarded. That shit. Listening to an episode of History Hyenas is like listening to one of those radio drops where they're like, you're listening to K3105, one boom, yeah, and it has all those different noises playing at the same time. That's what listening to an episode of History Hyenas is like. But they start that show, it starts to gain traction. They actually start getting pretty popular, and they get to a point to where like they're one of the bigger Patreons at the time, right? Then Chris starts doing good in his comedy career, a lot better than Giannis is. And he starts linking up with characters like Sal Vulcano from the Impractical Jokers, right? So then Sal's dumb round ass goes, hey man, we just started a podcast called Hey Babe, right? And Chris sees, oh, this guy's a way bigger star than Giannis. I should start a podcast with him. So they end up going into it together. And what happens when they start Hey Babe? Chris practically spits in Giannis's face and leaves him hanging by the wayside. I thought this was fucked up. Caused a huge rift in their friendship. They didn't talk for like years after that. Because nobody could think you guys had so many Patreon subscribers. They were making like $200,000 a month on Patreon. Okay, well, what do you got to throw that away for? Chris saw dollar signs and he fucked up the momentum. And now that Chris's momentum is coming downward, he's not doing Hey Babe anymore. This guy just got done outsourcing his ads to Tom Segura's network, Your Mom's House. This guy can't make a right decision to save his fucking life. Okay? And now all this shit's coming to a head. He goes knocking on Giannis's door. Hey, man, you want to start up History Hyenas again? And Giannis don't got shit going on. I'm talking like he has nothing going on. Nothing. So Giannis has no choice. He goes, I mean, yeah, we might as well see if we can get some money out of this, right? Come to find out, Chris is so excited about this fucking them restarting this show, right? Only to find out that his producer and the people around him, none of them even fucking listen to it.
Oh yeah, yes. Let me say, Vito, who has just told you that he was a big History Hyenas fan. He's a good friend of mine now. We've been working together for it's got to be coming up on 2 years. We've known each other for close to 10. He's a big comedy fan in the comedy world. History Hyenas has been back for 2.5 months. He hasn't listened to a single second of the new show, the Second Reich, as we call it. And that, after I literally fucking took this guy out for a Christmas dinner, gave this guy a Christmas bonus, he's like, by the way, here's a picture of my open asshole that says, I don't listen to History Hyenas, bitch.
Dude, he probably tried. I'm not even kidding. He probably actually tried. He probably gave it a good shake. And nobody gave a fuck. Like, I'm telling you, you try it. Try it for yourself. I fucking dare you. Go and play an episode of History Hyenas. Don't do it now. Finish this one out. You do not leave. But after this, go ahead and try one out. Try an episode on for size. See if you can make it through 5 fucking minutes of that shit. It's crazy, dude. It's insane. It's like listening to like 10 car crashes at the same time. It will send you into a tailspin. So now listen to this. We just got done talking about good old JRE, right? Chrissy's about to talk about how him and Hyenas, to help promote History Hyenas, they went on Joe Rogan. Now, you just heard me talk about the way that these episodes work, right? These History Hyenas episodes. You can't do that kind of shit on JRE. You can't go in there and just start talking crazy, talking out of turn, not letting Joe get his words in, saying like crazy outlandish ass jokes with inside jokes that only you two know. It doesn't work on Joe. It's never going to work on Joe. It especially doesn't work on Jamie. Jamie's like has no soul. So it's not going to work on either of these two. And Chris talks about how he goes on JRE and him and Hyenas try pulling this shtick, their History Hyenas shtick on Joe. Joe does not put up with any of it. They bomb the entire time. And get this. They recorded the episode. Joe still hasn't put it out yet. Not at the time of them recording this and not at the time of me recording my episode. It's still not out. They don't even know if Joe's going to use it. Listen to this.
Let's hope Joe Rogan show is out right now.
Well, it ain't. I'll tell you right now, it ain't. I'm telling you. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go to Joe's channel. Let's double check it. I want to do a fair shake on this. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. We will go to Joe's channel and we will check out to see if the show is on there. So I like that. When Joe left YouTube, somebody swiped his fucking username, right? So now all he could get was powerful JRE. Listen to that. That's such dog shit. So now we're in the video section. We're going to go to the video section. Nothing. You got 2 weeks ago, Bert Soren, Julian Lennon 12 days ago, Ryan Graves 11 days ago, Rod Blagojevic or whatever the fuck, however you say that, 10 days ago, James Fox, Duncan Trussell, and now you got Michael Waddell. I don't see History Hyenas anywhere on that bitch. So what does that say? You bombed. You bombed so hard, as a matter of fact, Joe ain't even going to put the fucking episode out. Listen to this.
Let's hope Joe Rogan show is out right now.
Well, we can just save that for the next episode because we should wrap this one up soon anyway.
Okay, let's wrap it up. And I'm going to tell you on the next week's episode all about Joe Rogan because it was, let me tell you, here's the thing with Joe Rogan is it's difficult to be in the moment, like in the chair, do it. Me and Hyenas had some swings at jokes. Like, dude, Hyenas made a Wagovi joke that like bombed so hard that like I had to bring it up and be like, that bombed hard. And then Joe was like, yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude, imagine that, dude. Imagine, dude, you, cause Chris, like, and Hyenas, they don't have a good relationship with Joe. So it's not like they could be, oh man, that was a bummer. You know, you think we could do it again like next week or something like that? Like scrap that. Joe's gonna be like, nah, man, I don't got time for that, man. I gotta hang out with like Tony Hinchcliffe, bro. You know? So they don't have that lifeline the way Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, Tony Hinchcliffe, you know, O'Brien, all of these people that hang out with Joe and Austin, they don't got it like that. So imagine Chris goes on there. He's the more popular comedian. Practically has to vouch for Hyenas to even step in the building, right? Hyenas comes in there with the goddamn Wagovi joke, which, if you don't know, Wagovi is basically like Ozempi's, right? So he goes in there and makes a Wagovi joke. Joe's bald ass has never heard of Wagovi. Completely bombs. Crickets. To the point to where your friend / co-host has to sit there and acknowledge it to double down on your fucking bomb. And then Joe Rogan has to sit there and go, yeah, man, that was a pretty big bomb, man. You fucking suck, man. Imagine that. Imagine being Giannis Pappas right now and getting your fucking soul crushed live on JRE. Yes.
Like I had to bring it up and be like, that bombed hard. And then Joe was like, yeah, man. Yeah. and then I swung with a joke, like doing like a full Korean accent that like just bombed, like sweat dripping down my back, and Giannis was like kicking me under the table, like dying laughing. Like we were bombing. But at the end, I said, you know, Joe was like, I'm so happy to see History Hyenas back. Joe actually said, it was one of my favorite podcasts. I was like, oh, wow, thanks. And then I said, you know what? We're happy to have it back. I said, you know, anyone out there, you know, you're listening to us on YouTube right now. We've been demonetized on YouTube. We don't know why. We're trying to fight. We only can have another chance to get reinstated come this February. So we have to stay within the lines and really kind of just be goody two-shoes and not give you the comedy that you deserve, because we want to get remonetized on YouTube. So if you want to see the comedy.
All right, I'm not even going to let him finish. Before we end this segment, I just want to explain to you how big of a crock of shit that is. I feel like this is Chris and Giannis's way of trying to like convince the chat, because they do live premieres just like I do for my show, right? So they have the pre-recorded episode. They premiere it on the day that they're premiering it, and they can sit there and live chat with you guys like I do. And I'll talk to you guys during the show while it's playing out. So they do that same thing. Now, I don't promote any like super chats or anything like that. You guys, I'll take your money. That's fine. You know, this show's got to make money somehow. You'll never see me on here going, please donate, please blah, blah, blah. You're never going to hear that bullshit come out of my mouth. You want to go to the site and buy a hoodie or something like that, you get something out of that. You get nothing out of giving me $5 to say like, hey, what's up, dude? And it gets like pinned on the screen for a little bit. That's bullshit, right? These guys, I feel like them coming up with this whole demonetization story is them trying to get you to sign up for the Patreon, to give them super chats, to do this, to try to bring the show back. These two got to be hurting for money. There's no other excuse, because YouTube does not demonetize people like that. You might get 3 strikes, something along those lines. They might demonetize or delete your channel, but they don't just come in and like demonetize a whole channel. They don't just come in and go, your channel is so crazy that you can't make any money ever. Because if that was the case, my channel would not be able to get monetized. It's monetized. You know how they do it? They go video by video. When you upload a video, they scan it. YouTube will scan your video once it's uploaded, and they will go, hey, do you agree that this is on the community guidelines to where we could put ads on it? And of course, you're always going to say yes. At least I do. I lie. And then I say yes, and then YouTube will scan my video, and they'll go, nah, you lied, and they will demonetize the video. Right? They basically will suppress the amount of money that I can make on it. They'll demonetize it if it gets copywritten, things like that. It's on a video-to-video basis. When you get YouTube channel strikes, then they will possibly delete your channel and all associated channels with it. I have never heard a case of YouTube going, your channel is so bad that we would still very much like you to post videos and risk you posting more bad videos, but we won't pay you for it. No. They're either just going to X you out, or they're going to fucking demonetize a video. They don't just slap the whole channel with a blanket thing. So when you see a guy like this, drunk, looking fucking crazy as fuck, desperate as shit, lying to you about how his YouTube channel is demonetized, that's something that we just cannot let fly here. But I will applaud him for giving it a shot. Let's give it up for good old Chrissy Chaos and trying to get that History Hyenas money back. You know what I mean? I hope it works out for you, buddy. We're all praying. So let's end up ending this episode on Joe List's appearance on Stavvy's World. I'm actually going to play some H3 tunes for this one. So you guys, a couple of you have been like commenting on my videos, asking me to cover Stavvy. And it's not that I didn't want to or anything. He just kind of just never made it across my desk. I finally decided to give the people what they want. When I saw Joe List a character like Joe List going on a show like Stavvy's World, I had to tune in to see what kind of bullshit would come out of it. And trust me, there's some bullshit. So, right out the rip, you're going to see Stavvy looking crazy as hell. Joe and Stavvy are going to be talking about raping Joe's kids. Stavvy's going to be picking shit off of his body. They're going to be sitting there. Joe's going to be bitching about not having anything to drink. There's just so much crazy stuff in this goddamn episode. I cannot hold you too much longer. Let's start to tone down this music a little bit. And we're just going to get right into the intro. Because even right from the rip with the intro, they're talking about ridiculous shit. Check this out.
Opa! Welcome everybody to Stavvy's World.
Hold up. I fucking forgot, dude. Holy shit. Look at this guy. Bro, is this even real right now? What the fuck? Someone please call 911, cause Stavvy looking insane right now, dude. This guy is looking puffier than usual. And that's saying a lot coming from this Michelin man looking fuck. Like, this guy's already fat as hell. So you throw this extra bloated bullshit on here, he looks insane. Like, he doesn't look like he normally looks. I'm telling you. Think of you yourself at home, pull up a picture of Stavvy and then look at this goddamn frame. That ain't the same dude, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't the same dude. He looks hungover as hell, looks like he just got done doing a bunch of goddamn coke. As a matter of fact, he looks like a fat Shih Tzu. Like, we got to be able to find a picture of a fat Shih Tzu online. There has to be a picture of a fat Shih Tzu that looks like Stavvy. Please tell me these are all regular ass looking Shih Tzus. There has to be a fat one in here somewhere. You trying to tell me there's no fat Shih Tzus? This one's kind of fat. Oh, that's close. We're getting closer. We're almost there. There we go. There we fucking go.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got him. Dude, look at this picture of this fat Shih Tzu, right? Then look at this frame of Stavvy. I mean, come on. They look exactly the fucking same. So we're not off to a good start with this episode.
World 904-800-STOP. Call in. We'll solve your problems on this beautiful Monday of Christmas week. In fact, Elvis, why don't you play us a little something different? Maybe. Yeah, isn't that nice?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
The kids are, you're out there buying your last minute gifts.
I ain't bought nothing.
Well, you're fine. Your son he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Well, we got the boys' gifts.
Okay.
Sarah did that.
Okay, that's good.
My money. My friend Derek has a funny point, and I
look at this asshole, dude. Have you ever seen a more hateable person in your entire life? Like, I'm being so serious right now. I'm 100%. Like, I joke around a lot in this show. This is the character. I mean, if you haven't caught on to that by now, like, if you think I'm running around in my everyday life acting like this big of an asshole, you're fucking stupid. I joke around a lot, okay? I'm being 100% serious when I say that I will skull fuck this guy until there's nothing left. This is the most hateable man. I honestly feel this way. Like, if you're looking at him and hate doesn't immediately wash over your entire body and soul, like, there has to be something wrong with you. There has to be. It's crazy how much, like, he looks like the biggest nerd. When you watch, like, a movie, someone's getting picked on, stuffed in a locker, it's always this. It's always this that you see. All the time. You can't have a gun, kid. You'll shoot your eye out. This looks like a Christmas story. You'll shoot your eye out, Joe List.
I always laughed at it. And I'm like, oh, he's such a hilarious asshole. But now I feel it. He's like, every Christmas, he's like, can you just put me down for, like, the house and the cars and everything, the health insurance? Like, just put my name on that. Like,
That's my gift That's my gift to you, you fucking thankless whore.
You ungrateful fucking bitch.
I work every day as a...
God, dude, Stavvy looking rough off of the tires, dude. Dude, I'm telling you. Shane Gillis gave this guy one role in a fucking Netflix show, and now he's going off the rails. This guy looks like he drank so much and did so much goddamn coke last night. He looks insane, bro. This guy looks real he looks real bent out of shape here.
A present. Every day you draw breath is a gift.
Every fucking week, I gotta go a couple blocks and talk about whether or not I would or would not eat my dad's cum. And I work hard.
Are you serious right now? This is what I'm talking about with him being like the most hateable fucking guy. Like they're making jokes about like Joe's wife spending his money for Christmas. Okay, big whoop, bro. She's your wife. Get over it. And then as soon as he goes, man, I got to tell her about how I'm making all this money. And then this is what he comes out with. This is crazy.
Every day is a present. Every day you draw breath is a gift.
Every fucking week, I gotta go a couple blocks and talk about whether or not I would or would not eat my dad's cum. And I work hard.
I work hard in the podcasting.
That's the comedy that we're gonna expect out of these two. So get used to it. I'm telling you right now, get ready. Because we're going to be talking eating dad's cum, raping babies. Dude, I can't say too much in one shot. Let's give it a couple seconds. We're also going to be talking about jizz. See, you can't say these things all together. YouTube, you got to give it a couple seconds in between the word fuck and shit and all that. So, we can't be caught lacking. So now listen. Right out the rip, you already know Joe's sitting there going, I got to talk about whether or not I'm going to eat my dad's cum, you know what I mean? Like, this guy, they can't come up with anything funnier than that. They just got to shock you with this, like, gross bullshit, right? And then, right out the rip, already, we're talking about R&Bs, you know what I mean? They're going to talk about doing some real slapsticky type shit to Joe's baby. Listen to this.
Ooh, you carried the baby. Ooh, I'm carrying him now.
That's right.
You carried him for 9 months. I carried him for 9 hours at a party.
That's so true, man. He's cute as hell.
Yeah, he's sweet. He's fun.
Yeah,
he likes
nice.
you. I think it's you and Karen were the first two visitors, and I think that it lingers.
He can tell. He can tell.
Feel it.
No, he's I do think babies like him because I look like a giant baby. I have baby features, baby characteristics.
Yeah.
I make them feel comfortable.
I think you're right.
I think Stavvy's onto something here. Stavvy does look like a fat, hairy baby. Like I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm sitting here trying to make a joke to add on to it. That was good enough. There was no fat on that at all. Pun intended.
I do feel bad. I should provide a service where I betray babies' trust so they know. Because I'm the only guy that looks like me that a baby should trust.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want more.
See, he's the only guy that looks like a pedophile that isn't a pedophile. That's what he's saying. Because every other guy that you meet that's like as tall as Danny DeVito, as bald as Danny DeVito, but somehow fatter than Danny DeVito, 9 times out of 10, that kid's touching babies, right? So that's where he's coming up with this joke. He goes, not every guy who looks like me should be trusted around babies. So I should actually provide a service to where I help these babies realize what it's like in the real world by diddling them. Okay, let's hear it out of his mouth.
Oh, because I'm the only guy that looks like me that a baby should trust.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
I don't want Marty to see me and be like, balding guys with these kinds of glasses.
These are the good guys, yeah, with the mustache.
So it's going to break my heart. I'm going to have to, at some point, I'm going to have to treat your son like Harry and the Hendersons, where they yell at him at the end that they hate him.
See, this is the thing, though. As Stavvy's making the joke about it, right? But Joe looks like a way crazier pedophile than Stavvy does. So Joe is sitting there like, oh, you don't even have to provide the service. He's like, I'm already touching my kid every goddamn night, man. Don't even worry about it. All the molestation, we got it covered over in the List household. So it's cool, man. Me and my good old buddy Mark Norman, you know, comedy, you know him? Yeah, we're over there. We're really putting the works on my goddamn baby at home, you know? He looks like the craziest pedophile. Imagine you're a baby. You're born into this world. You have no say in the matter, right? You didn't choose to fucking be here. You didn't choose where you came from, right? And then you come out the womb. You're like, you see the light. You're thinking to yourself, this is going to be fucking glorious, dude. I'm finally out of the womb. I'm going to get to see the real world. And then you got to come into and this is your dad. You got to stare at this asshole every fucking day. I would kill myself as a baby. I would tie the umbilical cord around my neck. I would kill myself. I'd be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'd be like, put me back in there and don't let me come out until we reach West Africa. I'd rather live in the slums. I'd rather live in the poorest parts of Africa than live in this bullshit. Nothing against black people. It just happens to be Africa's very poor. I could have said India. It's very poor over there too. Okay? So don't get fucking crazy. Okay, Joe looks like a pedophile. Stavvy's a pedophile. They're about to rape Joe's baby. Listen to this.
The mustache. It's gonna break my heart. I'm gonna have to at some point. I'm gonna have to treat your son like Harry and the Hendersons, where they yell at him at the end,
or
so that they hate him.
Like just a light, where it's not like devastating, but it lets him know.
Ooh, this is not a good guy. yeah. You tell me. I'm not gonna. You tell me.
Just something.
There you go. So now they're blocking all the words out. You know, Joe's like, yeah, you just go in there, you give my baby a little light molesting. You know, nothing crazy, nothing too heavy, a light molestation. That's all we need. And then Stavvy over here, they're bleeping out his shit. He goes, oh, yeah, no, of course. You would tell me how to rape your baby, okay? That's how the service works. You come in, we provide 1,000% guaranteed satisfaction. Like, we're going to rape your baby just right. So don't worry about it, okay? That's kind of the conversation that they're having here. They're bleeping all this shit out. You guys are supposed to be comedians. All I see is two pussies that look like pedophiles.
Like just a light, where it's not like devastating, but it lets them know.
This is not a good guy.
Yeah.
You tell me. I'm not gonna. You tell me how.
Just something. Show me on the doll.
There you go.
Maybe with a Q-tip.
No.
Just Merry Christmas.
Yes.
All right. Cut.
Raping the baby with the Q-tip. That's nice. That's nice. That's real nice. Let's go back to a frame of Joe, right? Let's go back to a frame of Joe so I can really fucking contextualize this for you. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't rape Joe List's baby if you fucking paid me, okay? I would not do it because I could only imagine what kind of woman dates a guy like this, right? And then I could really only imagine what kind of baby that him and that woman make. This thing probably came out looking like a deformed freak, like a mix between the kid from A Christmas Story and The Hills Have Eyes. That's what I'm picturing in my mind when I picture what Joe List's baby looks like. So you couldn't pay me any amount of money to diddle this goddamn baby. And if you think that providing a service to do it is going to make it, I mean, this is Joe List's baby we're talking about. Okay? Wait. Hold on. This bit's getting out of hand. No babies getting diddled around here, all right? Chill. Joe List is ugly as fuck. That's the point that we're trying to make here. So now, look, as soon as they get done talking about this, they end up dissing on Dave Portnoy, all right? We don't like that over at Lost Docs Media. We just got done celebrating Dave's time on BFFs, and we gave him a nice little send-off because that's how we respect Dave around here. We love him, okay? There's nobody more boomered out than Dave Portnoy. So when I heard these two dissing him, I wasn't ready for that.
Times more money.
Yeah, I don't really spend money on anything, to be honest with you. I
can look at you. Not like me with my free bar stool.
Yeah, at least I'm wearing clothes I purchased.
I always went out, like, I don't know anything about bar
Yeah, I
stool.
know
I've never
that-
listened. I'm like, am I just wearing like a swastika and I don't realize it?
No, they're not that bad, but it is funny to be constant. You wear that so much for someone who does not listen to Barstool at all.
I don't know literally anything about Barstool. I've been to KFC and
I like
that's it.
PMT.
I know the
pardon
guy.
my take. Those guys are awesome.
I know the guy.
See, that's how big of a Jew Joe List is. He's like, he won't even spend money on his own goddamn clothes. He's sitting there bitching about how his wife's just spending up all his shit. You remember that? You remember when he was like, I gotta go 2 blocks. I gotta talk about eating my father's cum. And that's how we're making money. And you're sitting here spending it all up on Christmas. Meanwhile, this guy's wearing a hand-me-down sweater from Barstool. He doesn't even know what Barstool is.
Eats pizza, and I think he's like a Republican.
Yes.
What's his name? Portnoy. Dave
Portnoy.
Oh, watch it. Watch it, boys. You better fucking watch it.
And I think he's like a Republican.
Yes.
What's his name? Portnoy. Dave Portnoy.
It is hilarious to be like, I'm the guy who eats pizza. It's like, what? That's what you're proud of, that you like pizza?
Excuse me, motherfucker. Yo, dude, this guy, I'm about to get real Dave Portnoy fangirl right now. He doesn't just do the pizza, bro. He's giving money to struggling businesses. During COVID, he was giving out grants to small businesses all across the country, man. This guy was the only one really fighting for these motherfuckers while the government was shutting us all down. Come on, man. This is Donald Trump rhetoric. I thought all you comedians were on the side of the right now. I thought you guys were the alt-right now, okay? You should know this shit. He's running the fuck out of Barstool, bought the company back for $1, bro. Who sells the company and then buys it back for $1? That's how bad the company that bought it from him, that's how bad they were fucking it up. They were like, dude, we will do anything for you to take this off of our tax sheet. Please, bro. He's like, I'll buy it back for $1. He's like, yeah, dude, take it. That's how bad. They almost ran the company into the fucking ground. Dave brought it back. He brought it back. So we're not just talking one bite pizza bullshit. And then who's this guy to talk? Coming in looking like a fat shih tzu. This guy can barely open his fucking eyes. He's legitimately has a chip in his tooth. So that's okay. So Dave is known for eating pizza, right? And you're known for being fat as fuck. What's the difference? What are we talking about here? That's great. It's crazy to be known as the fat fuck comedian. That's what I hear when I go, oh man, it's crazy to be known for one bite pizza. But the guy's got like almost $1 billion. It's crazy to not even be a millionaire and be a fat fuck comedian who wears Italian mobster chain necklaces. This guy is the biggest Greek piece of shit you've ever seen.
What? That's what you're proud of, that you like pizza? That's fucking stupid. But hey, that guy has somehow become like a billionaire off of his blog. So hats off, I suppose.
Yeah. Hats on. Santa hats.
That's right. Santa hats on this beautiful.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Let's get. I can't do this. You can't talk about Dave this way, okay? Dave's my honey boo. Dave is my honey boo. Now watch this. Look, I'll show you guys this real quick. Stavvy sitting there talking all that shit about Dave, right? I'll tell you one thing Dave don't do. Dave doesn't sit there and pick at his goddamn body in the middle of the goddamn podcast. Watch this. Stavvy starts picking stuff off pulling shit out of his fat folds and shit like that. He pulls like a cheeseburger out of one. He's got stuff in between his fingernails. He's the most disgusting fat fuck you've ever met. Look at this.
Fucking do regimented bullshit. I could never do it.
No, I've tried to do multiplication recently with the X and the carry and the number, and I was like, I don't know. Or division. I know how to make the thing, but then I'm like, I don't know.
Watch him. Pay attention.
Oh, we have calculators.
We have calculators. Even I guess I could probably write an essay pretty easily. That's the one thing I'm better at. I could write a 5-paragraph. That's hilarious to think about how much you were sweating 5 paragraphs. But any math or science or having to sit there for a long time. Although maybe.
Look, it starts with the nose pick, right? Now, I'm not completely you know, I've wiped my nose. I can't have a fan on when I'm recording in here. I wear a hoodie. I'm ready to start sweating my ass off, and I do my hair for these things. So the shit starts getting frizzy, it starts getting all crazy. You know, I can't have that. So we got to be looking top notch in this bitch. So I get it. Your nose might run. You're a little hot. You got to wipe it. I understand that. Okay, that I'll let you slide on.
Like, that's hilarious to think about how much you were sweating 5 paragraphs. But any math or science or having to sit there for a long time.
Huh?
Although maybe I'd get jacked. Now I'm convincing myself again. Yeah, it would be cool. But then you wouldn't have any of your friends. None of your...
Well, there's the first one.
Your pals.
Right.
I would leave Eldest in the dust. I was confused by how...
And he just throws it off to the side. What the fuck? What the fuck? Look at this. So he picks his nose with one hand. He starts fucking going all crazy. He's pulling shit out of his fat neck folds. Takes a look at it. Balls it up in his fingers a little bit. He goes, oh, that's a nice one. He throws it off to the side. Keeps talking. Of course, a disgusting little freak like Joe List, you know, they just got done talking about raping this guy's baby. He don't care. He thinks nothing of it. Stav just pulls this move off, goes by completely untalked about.
Your pals.
Right.
I would leave Eldest in the dust. Eldest would be confused by how that would be so funny if one of us went back in time.
Oh, God, I can't take it. I'm sorry. That's bad right there. That is disgusting. I can't do it. Now, look, I told you guys how gross these two were. I told you how disgusting these guys were. They're about to prove it. Stavvy's going to continue to pick on his body, right? In the middle of this goddamn show. And this is, I'm not even kidding, this is less than 2 minutes later. He starts picking at himself again, right? And then they start getting into a conversation about how both of them love eating ass.
Dummy.
They love it. They love eating that ass. And now I understand where Mark Norman gets it from. Because Mark Norman and Joe List are like best friends. So remember we were talking Mark Norman, he's got a girl forcing his ankle or his fucking ankles behind his neck. And she's eating his ass out. Like it's a fucking plate of fried rice. She's in there. In there, right? Mark doesn't know what to do. He's getting his ass eaten to smithereens, right? I get where Mark gets that from. Because Joe is one of those like ass-eating fools. I'm telling you, these guys love it. Listen to this.
Views on YouTube. It would be dwarfed by Stavvy's world. Be like, yeah, the song's okay, but did you see Stavvy?
Look at him picking at his body still. Watch this. This guy. I'm telling you. Look at this.
Stavvy's world.
Still going.
Be like, yeah, the song's okay, but did
what you got there, Stavvy? Did you like pick a zit or something like that? You disgusting fuck. Listen to this ass-eating talk.
He talked about eating a lady's ass out on Thanksgiving. And if that's appropriate or not.
You can't do that on Thanksgiving. You can't be eating ass on Thanksgiving. That's one of the worst days to eat ass.
How do you know? You have an experience in that? You shouldn't be eating ass at all, my friend. I'm telling you. If you're eating ass, skip to the next video. Okay? You can't be eating ass over at Lost Docs Media. We don't do that. We're not eating ass over here, all right? These guys, the jamokes, they eat the ass. We keep the ass pure, okay? Nothing in, nothing out. I don't even shit, all right? My ass has never been opened ever, not once, all right? It's never been opened. I haven't shit in 35 years, all right? So when I hear these guys talking about getting the tongue jammed straight in there, or them jamming tongues in other people's asses, it kind of throws me off a little bit.
You can't be eating ass on Thanksgiving. That's one of the worst days to eat ass. Oh, the brave souls who've attempted ass eating after 2 full plates.
I haven't eaten ass in a long time. My wife doesn't want me to eat her ass.
Ooh, my wife doesn't want me to eat her ass. Now you hear how sad Joe sounds about this. Joe sounds like, listen, I see Joe's wife.
Is that really your fucking wife, dude? Yikes.
Hey, bro, that's fucking William Montgomery right there, baby. I bet you Joe's wife looks like shit. And then Joe's so sad that she won't let him eat her ass.
That's a shame.
I want to get in there.
I
You
think
like eating ass?
He wants to get in there. Okay. These are the type of heathens that we're dealing with. I told you this shit was going to happen. You didn't believe me. And now we have to go through it. Listen to this.
It's a long time. My wife doesn't want me to eat her ass.
Oh, that's a shame.
I want to get in there. You like eating ass?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's a little dry. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's drier than a pussy, which is kind of yucky.
Yeah, something about the asshole excites me sexually more than a pussy. I don't know what it is.
The only thing that sucks is this. I wish there was like something hanging down that you could kind of, while you're eating it, you could
Something
kinda
like a stress ball.
tug on.
Something you can tug
Yes. So Joe over here, he wishes that his wife had a whole full dick, right? So like this guy is basically gay. You know, he doesn't like to eat vajays, and he wants to eat ass. He wishes that there was like a trumpet style, you know, some sort of appendage in the front. You know, that's why they call it a rusty trombone. It took me so long to realize that. That's like they call it the rusty. The rusty part is the butthole, right? And then you play in the trombone with the guy's thing, right? But Joe List, come on, man. Joe List, he's basically trying to do the rusty trumby to his wife. He wants to do this. And now he's got me acting it out on the goddamn screen. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, something to take your attention.
You know what I mean? That would be cool.
Now that would be really cool.
If there was a little more hair on it, that would be kind of nice.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing I think about.
Yeah, they're trying to push the envelope with that one. You guys are real fucking trailblazers talking about eating ass. I never heard a joke about that, you know? And then to think of, let's just talk about it and then try to be as gross as we can with it. That'll make people laugh. Pfft, what are you, fucking stupid? So now listen to this. We're going to end this little segment on this part here, right? Joe Rogan, right? The first time I ever heard of Joe List was from an episode of Joe Rogan. So Joe List, like, this was like a couple years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. Joe List had starred in a movie that was directed by Louis C.K. Another one of those comedians who likes to do the creepy. The creepy. This guy, Louis C.K., he likes to jerk off in the room when like women are sitting around next to him. They have no way of getting out. He goes, he wants to like jerk off on him or something like that. Louis crazy. I respect it. So, you know, Joe List starred in a movie that was directed by Louis C.K. When Louis was getting ready to premiere the movie, he and Joe had gone on and did an episode of Joe Rogan. Just like we saw how Tim's promoting like his special a little bit. He's kind of doing like a soft promote. He's like, we don't have a date yet, but get ready. We're going to, you know, get on here. And then I'm going to be on Joe Rogan again. So it's kind of like that same thing. They get ready to premiere the movie. Louis C.K. and Joe List show up on Joe Rogan. I have no idea who Joe List is. At the time, Joe was so self-conscious about being on that episode of JRE. All he could do was talk about it. It seemed like every 5 minutes, he was like, am I doing a good job? Like on the show, that him and Louis, Joe and Louis are like, bro, just chill. We're talking, bro. Chill. Like, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I don't know. I'm just so nervous. We got this movie coming out. And the whole time, he's sitting there actually bringing up the fact that he's nervous and doesn't know what to talk about on the show. He's bombing. Just as bad as the History Hyenas boys were, Joe List is bombing. In front of a legend like Louis C.K. and in front of a short asshole like Joe Rogan. That's some shit. So now, right now, Joe List is about to talk about that bomb. How he had said this joke and it had went over not only Joe's head, but over Louis' head. Now that makes you think. Two different sets of comedians go and bomb on the Joe Rogan show. Is it the comedians or is it Joe? You know? It's both. They all suck. So that's the answer here that we're looking for. Listen to this guy talk about how him, Joe, Louis C.K., they all couldn't get on the goddamn same page. Joe List is bombing on JRE. Listen to this.
You know what? I forgot. Before we get into that,
Yes.
I brought a delicacy for you.
Please.
That's kind of my culture, and
I can't wait. Yeah,
I'll be right back.
yeah,
'cause I think
yeah.
you're gonna like it.
I can't wait.
Hold
I
on.
can't
Can
wait.
you kill time without me?
Absolutely.
You'll be all right.
I'll be okay.
I did that bit at Rogan's show, and he was like, "Yeah, man." And I was like, "No, I know." Yeah. I was Rogan and Louie, and I was like, "Are you guys be all right if I'm not here?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, I know."
See, this is what Joe List is failing to leave out. When Joe List made that joke, because of how nervous he was to be on JRE, he sounded dead ass serious. Like, he goes to make the joke, Joe List goes to go to the bathroom, and Joe Rogan and Louis C.K. are going to be left to their own devices, right? So Joe List, as a joke, which is a little bit funny, right? You want to sit there, you have two juggernauts like Joe and Louis, you're going to go, hey, you guys are going to be able to handle the conversation. You guys are going to be able to carry the conversation on without me, right? I know you guys can barely do it on your own. It's like a little joke. He's like negging them to, right? But he sounds so serious because of how nervous he is that they both have to they're like, oh shit, this guy's like breaking down. They're like, yeah, no, dude, we'll be fine. Like, calm down. You can go to the bathroom. Like, they take it as like real because Joe's acting like a nervous pile of shit. That's why. And he doesn't understand that. It seems like he never even watched the episode back, or at least checked to see like if what the way he thought it played out, if that was actually how he played out. You know what I mean? That's what this is saying to me.
Culture, and I'd like
can't
to.
wait. Yeah,
I'll be right back. I think you're gonna like it.
I can't wait.
Hold on. Can you kill time without me?
Absolutely.
You'll be all right.
I'll be okay.
I did that bit.
See, Stavvy laughed. Stavvy goes, yeah, I'll be fine, dude. Chill.
Can't wait.
Hold on. Can you kill time without me?
Absolutely.
You'll be all right.
I'll be okay.
I did that bit at Rogan's show, and he was like, "Yeah, man," and I was like, "No, I know." Yeah. I was Rogan and Louie, and I was like, "Are you guys be all right if I'm not here?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, I know."
Hilarious.
Good shit right there, dude.
Hopefully it's a roast beef sandwich.
Good shit. So let's give it up for Joe List not being able to take a hint and bombing on JRE, just like his good friends, the History Hyenas. And that's going to do it for this episode of Lost Docs Media. I'm about to play some tunes. As always, at the end of the episode, we like to play a little bit of music to get the mood right before we call it a night. You know what I mean? So, as always, I had such a great time hanging out with you guys on this very wonderful episode of Lost Docs Media. I always like to end the episodes talking about where you can listen to the show, right? We're changing a little bit of that plan here. I want to promote the merch, right? Promote the site. So be sure to catch anything Lost Docs Media. Stay up to date with merch, new episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and other platforms. You can follow us on all our socials, the whole nine. All that can be done at lostdocs.media. That's lostaux.media. New episodes of Lost Docs Media go up every Wednesday. Audio episodes go up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts at 5 a.m. And video episodes go up on Spotify and YouTube at 4 p.m. That's Eastern Time. And the reason why we do that is so that you can listen to the episodes on your way to work, and when you get home from work, you can watch them. Once again, that's lostaux.media. Catch us at lostdocs.media. Until next time, I bid you adieu. Goodbye.